This is one of those stupid realizations you have where you're like, well, yeah, of course. I'm an adult, right? I answer to no one. Except for maybe Kim. Like, but if I were to tell Kim, hey, I want to do this stupid thing, she'd be like, all right, sure, let's do it. Super supportive. Support is important. But it occurs to me, it happened a while ago, by the way. The sudden realization, probably about 4 years ago when I was doing playing around 3D printers. It occurred to me that I could make anything I want. Right? Nobody's stopping me. In my youth, I'm a lot older than I look. And I came from a generation where if I were to tell an adult, when I was a young adult, yeah, I want to make costumes and helmets and stuff, it'd have been I'd have been ridiculed left and right. I'm very glad we got to a point in our society, or at least, yeah, I just stopped caring about society, to where I can just make whatever I want, and nobody looks down on it. It's not like, oh, you're a costume. No, yeah, I make costumes. I make props. I have fun. But I'm an adult. I make what I want. Growing up, I had lots of things I wanted. And then, I hit a point where I'm like, oh, that's all kid stuff. And I stopped thinking about it. I'm thinking about it again. So, I printed up a couple of things. Weird little story. I mean, you've seen the title. You know where we're going with this. But when Kim and I first started dating, right before we started dating, actually, she had a computer issue and wanted my opinion on it. Or we were going over Photoshop or some stupid thing like that. And I go into her computer room, which is where all of her nerd stuff was relegated. That at that time, that's the only place it could live. And she turns on her computer, and the Windows sound, they used to make noises when you started them on, when you started them up. Hers went flare up now, which is Ryu from Ronin Warriors tagline. She got all super embarrassed and nerdy, someone you like, you'd be a geek, and it's embarrassing a little bit. I opened up my laptop, turned it on, and it was Anubis from the same show going Wake with Fear. So, Ronin Warriors holds a special part in my heart. I want the ancient staff. So I printed most of it. Right? Looks pretty neat. Can't quite see it. It's a lot of gray versus gray here. But that staff, it changes so much from scene to scene to scene. I'm not even seeing the scene. In the second episode, when the first time you see it, the size is like this tall and it's tiny. And then he throws it and it's huge and there's so much detail in it. So I scoured the show, right? Every reference of it, I screen captured every single frame to try and find the most complicated part. And it's easier to simplify than it is to complicate. Which means you have to find the most complicated version of the product to find the truest product. You're going to mentally edit out a bunch of the older stuff, or a bunch of the easier stuff. So, yeah, either way, I'm rambling. I do that sometimes. But I printed this up. Let me pull you up. Let's get a little cozy real quick. We'll show you where we're at. So, there's a scene near the mid part of the series where you get a close-up of the staff. And it's got a bunch of ribs. So I 3D modeled all the ribs, right? This is currently in quite a few pieces. Here we go. Let's take the whole thing apart. The bottom half, way more complicated than it seems. In the first or second episode, when he's throwing it to break the circle, you see that's the only time you actually see the super detail in the bottom. And they're doing weird frame things, so it's hard to calculate everything, but I think I got it. In this one, or for the top, it's got all these weird facets that I loved. Let me pull it. Since I've got everything apart, it's easier to see. So, it's got these facets that I absolutely love, and then these rings on the top. for the topper, I wanted something that was reminiscent of Genesis. So I kind of took a little bit of liberty with that. But I'm super happy with how that turned out. Hopefully this will be a quick one. Should just be some light sanding, a little bit of glazing putty, and then on paint. This isn't a complicated, I mean, unless I'm doing weird stuff, it's never really super complicated. The first thing I'm gonna do is glue everything up, let it rest, and wait for the bottom to finish printing. Just gonna go over everything with a light sanding, and we'll see where we're at that point. Just gluing these together. There's nothing special happening here. I do want to make sure that the ends all match up. Like it or not, that's where we're at. Just let that do its thing. Then I'm gluing the wings on. The wings snap into place, which is kind of neat. I modeled this the other day. So originally I'd modeled it without them. Snaps right in. And perfect. Now give everything just a light sanding too. We're gonna let these glue. We're gonna sand this stuff. You've all seen sanding, right? Don't need to watch that. I got lots of other videos. If you want to see me sand stuff, I do it in most of them. All right, just real quick though, right? I'm gonna start at 150. I'm just knocking down the high points. Luckily, these are all segmented, so I'll just keep going across. That's it. Let's see when I'm done with this, because this is going to take forever. Everything's been lightly sanded. I'm trying not to lose detail, because that's kind of the whole point of this piece. And we're just going to get super light coating of glazing putty. I'm just, like I said, trying to fill in the highs, or trying to fill in the low spots. I want to keep as much detail as possible. This would probably be a perfect candidate for acetone and glazing putty. That way it's nice and thin. But I don't know, I just like getting my hands dirty. My glazing putty, everything. And then we'll pick it right back up. Finish printing the bottom half of this thing. And I want to take a moment to appreciate the absolute bonkers that this thing is. So this is the bottom, right? Look at this thing. We're going to go slow pan here. Check this out. That's crazy. We have the top primed. At least it's a little more visible now. I picked up a bunch of these rings. Should clink nice. But since everything's now printed, this gets sanded. This is the bottom, right? This thing's gonna be like 6 foot tall. It's crazy. I absolutely love this thing. It's the stupidest thing I've printed in a long time. Since the last thing I printed, that was a stupid thing too. It's that one over there. All of it's stupid. That's half the point though, isn't it? So everything gets sanded, glazing puttied, and then we'll pick this back up once we hit primer. I am at the stage where I want to glue all of this together. Yes, I'm using hot glue. This is a prop, not an actual staff. I want all my segments to line up. So I'm going to start right about there by gluing this bottom one in place. Draw a line. So I'm just going to put in some hot... I'm using hot glue because there's a bit of a gap, and the hot glue is going to cover most of that. Now that I have the first piece in place, as long as I line everything up, should be fine. You know, famous last words, huh? Hot glue everywhere. I'll probably drop CA glue along these joints just to make sure everything lines up right. All right, and then for the top, I'm gonna use regular glue. Well, CA glue. Then we'll let it dry. As soon as the bottom is ready, we're gonna do the same thing down there. Nice part about the bottom, there is no ridges. So I can just glue. I have scuffed up the PVC pipe, by the way. Forgot to mention that. And it's gonna be the same thing as we did with the top. Put down a bead of glue. Wish my glue gun was just a little longer. So now these line up. So the top lines up with the top. All right, there we are. On to priming. Primer. Doing a base coat now. I'm using metal cast base coat. Gives it a nice shine. And then after that we're using Rust-Oleum metallic gold. It'll give me the nice shiny brass I'm looking for. So that's what we're doing next. Just on the top, because from here down, all black. Onto gold, and then we're going to let it cure overnight, and then everything gets black. And let it cure overnight, then we're going to spray everything else black. I can speak. Really, I can. I got excited. I had to put the rings on it. This is stupid. I love this thing. Alright. This gets taped up. And then the rest is getting painted just with the standard flat black primer. Or flat with a standard flat black enamel. So I'm just going to put a bag over this thing, tape it up, and paint it black. And let's see when I'm done with that. Still got a little tack to it, but I I want to take all the bag off now. It's a little cold out, which is a nice thing to say. It's a little cold out, which is a nice thing to say. That makes the paint dry a little slower than I want. So I'm going to take the bag off and take it inside. You're cold, they're cold. I painted this last night, so the gold should be fine, but I don't like having tape on it if I don't have to, you know? All right, I'm gonna take this inside and let it dry for about an hour. Look at this thing. It's ridiculous. But I'm super happy with it. The end, look at that. That looks super cool. This part, oh, I love the staff. It came out amazing. It's still a little tacky. I need to let it dry. Like I said, it's cold in here, but it's fine. But look at that. I love that. That turned out great. Easy project. No real problems. My printer wasn't doing stupid things. Everything went together fine. Sanding the 3D print. We've done that often. That's not the point of this video. I do this a lot. I make videos that really aren't about the video. It's got some kind of a weird lesson in it. If I listen to people, and I'm like, oh, that's a kid's thing. Don't do kids things. I never would have made this, and this has made me exceptionally happy. Don't let people tell you what you can and can't do. Don't let people make you... Growing old is not optional, but growing up is. Don't let people tell you can't do a thing, because it's not. When they say you can't do a thing, more times than not, it's they can't do a thing, and if they can't, you shouldn't either. Don't let people do that to you. You want to make a print and make a stupid prop? Do the print, make the stupid prop. This stuff is easy. All of that's easy. Nothing I do is very difficult. I've had a lot of practice at it, but that's the only difference. Everybody starts out new. If you have a project you want to do, I didn't know how to do any of this until I learned how to do it, and now I know how to do it. It's really that easy. Just do a little research. Don't let people tell you can't do a thing. As long as it's not hurting somebody else, do what you want. So, staff came out great. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I hope you stick around. Maybe like and subscribe. See what we got going on. I got a couple of big projects coming up. Should be interesting. 6 days worth of printing going on right about now. So, hope to see you next time.